Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 41st Kessel Run Comics podcast. This is your host, Macadelic, and co-host,
Ske11y Boy.
And boy, are we glad to have him back on the podcast. Last week, he missed the cast, but it's okay. Like, he's here again, and for all of those who missed the Skelly, the bones are back. You like that?
No.
See, I thought of that on the fly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't looked up any spec, but we can always do that up on the fly. But we do have our top 5, and I think we're ready for you to jump us right in.
Number 5, we have the ending of Batman 3 Jokers. And this book was okay. Everyone knows I'm a Red Hood fan, and I really did not like what happened to Red Hood in this book. Oh my God.
Well, it just breaks your heart, you know? Like, you're talking about the very end, right?
I'm talking about the whole thing. Every bit of this whole issue, anything that involved Red Hood, I did not like. From the rip.
I like the part when Batman, got in his face and was like, listen, I do understand. Like, you're the one who really doesn't understand because you're not looking at the big picture.
No, I like Red Hood. He didn't have to do the boy like that.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do him like that. Did not agree.
Well, I mean, you got to keep your boys in check. Like, would you be the homie if you didn't, keep all your ducks in a row? Especially as the Bat Dad. Like, he has to keep all his people, doing their thing. Oh, is it going to pick up a little bit better now?
It should.
Okay.
Just a tad. It will be a little bit louder.
Yeah. I always try to project my voice. So, you don't like all of the Red Hood. So that's your big
my
negative.
Breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there were saving graces or silver linings in this book, where would they lie?
There's not any.
For you, there's not
nothing.
any?
What happened with Red Hood is a deal breaker.
Okay.
Through and through.
I feel that. Do you see the ending of this book sprouting a new series? Or do you see this, leading into another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could definitely.
I think for me, the ending was at the same time where it was climactic and it kept you wondering right up until the last second, literally the last few pages and the last panels even, just admiring things and wondering kind of where the story could go after this. But my favorite part was probably just Batman honestly doing what Batman does best, being a detective, looking into every little nook and cranny, figuring all of this out. I like how at the very beginning there was 20 Jokers or 20 subjects or people who had been subjected or more. So that was super cool. Really my only dislike from this book was how the Joker practically gave up. I didn't like the, all right, Bats, take me to jail. That's just, I could never, but I could never see the Joker actually doing that. He would rather get punched in the face 4 or 5 times and be dragged into a police car than, just give up. Since this doesn't have a 4th issue and it doesn't have 3 Jokers Part 2 or whatever, already solicited and down the pipeline, it just...
I feel like you're not understanding that Joker.
What, that specific one?
Because he was the comedian, but his whole thing was that he was the most sadistic. And by him turning himself in, he's just screwing Batman.
Yeah.
That was his whole point. He was turning myself in, but really, this hurts you.
Yeah.
I'm fine, I'll be okay in Arkham. But what are you going to do? I am you.
Right.
It was just that whole aspect of it.
But I don't think he was trying to hurt him because, he literally says in the text, I have just healed your greatest wound. Or, I have just healed your greatest wound, and now you can focus on me being your greatest wound. He was looking at it less about, while he was looking at it as, I care about Bruce Wayne, I want Bruce Wayne to... Bruce Wayne is the most important thing to me in my life, so I expect that to be reciprocated. And that's just not the way Batman's ever going to work. While Batman won't end this, while he won't go ahead and kill Joker, he's just, he's not going to He's not going to let it persist, you know, forever and ever and ever. Like, at some point, you know, we've got to get, like, the Batman that's, like, right there on the edge, ready to, like, kill him. And, you know, that was one of the things I liked about him getting in Red Hood's face. Because Red Hood is very, you know, right at you and direct in the way he, like, either verbally attacks you or physically attacks you. So I think all of these different sources, whether it's Punchline, whether it's Joker, whether it's this whole Three Joker storyline, whether it's Red Hood, I think all of these people, all these characters are pushing Batman a little bit closer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer to the edge. And in one of these books, whether it's a one-shot, whether it's an ongoing series, but more likely a mini-series, Batman's going to snap. Like, give me, like, your trust when I say sometime in the next 5 years, somebody's going to write a story about Batman snapping and killing someone. And I would like it being Joker.
You think that's going to happen?
I do think it's going to happen because I just see, for somebody who doesn't know Batman in and out, like diehard Batman fans, like somebody who would be the Batman equivalent of my love for Star Wars, could probably tell me, you're right or you're wrong or, you know, whatever. I see what you're talking about. But I haven't read Batman very long, but I've seen a lot over the course of the last 6 months of angry Batman. Like, Batman just mad, upset, in his feelings, depressed. And all those negative emotions are going to culminate into ruin eventually. Just the question is, how long will it take?
I don't think he's going to kill somebody, though, just based off of what happened with Red Hood in this book.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll kill him. I just don't see that happening.
Right.
Maybe like, snapping at the wrong person.
Yeah.
Like, he might snap at someone that, like, doesn't need it, you know?
Well, what if he went kind of just the degree under that? Instead of killing people, what if he did something crazy, like, say he's got somebody by the throat, and he's like, give me answers, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, I am Batman. Like, that type thing. And then the dude resists, and he's like, okay, well, then I'm just going to snap your femur, and just kicks his crap in, you know? And
like,
just
I think he might escalate
start
the
breaking bones,
stuff.
and like...
he might get the Punisher level, like, torture, but he won't cross the line.
That would be badass. I'd love that.
Gonna happen.
All right, well, what's your rating on this?
A 2.
A 2. Okay. For me, I'm gonna do a 3.5 because I liked it about a point better than, you know, middle of the road.
It wasn't. It was below.
Yeah.
I could really give this book a 1.5. And
jeez. You're throwing Jeff Johns, freaking Jason Fabok, all of them under the bus. Bye, kids.
Ruined my favorite character. Whole reason.
He'll be back.
One of the 2 reasons I read Batman is now gone.
Yikes! Well, he's not gone from the ongoing, at least.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have our number 4 on the list. As a number 4, this is Strange Academy number 4 by Scotty Young. Tell me what you thought about this, because this is one, you know, this is our group, or like our group pick, but the number 1 was something that since day one, like, I've been on this. I love this series.
I really liked the necklace.
The necklace.
That was the one part of the book that was like, that's neat.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of it was pretty to me.
Yeah.
But that little, like, character development was great.
And I'm glad we got to see that too, because I had been wondering pretty much, because you know how that whole thing started with Desi being a weirdo, just like staring at her, or like Desi can see things other people can't see because she's a demon.
Yeah.
So like I always thought it was kind of interesting when they introduced her in the first issue and then followed up with it in the second issue. She's always looking at someone or able to tell what they're really thinking or how they're really feeling, and so she had, you know, that obsession with the like Jamaican girl, or not Jamaican, but the Haitian girl.
Yeah.
So she had all those problems with her, and I was thinking, you know, is this girl like kind of a turncoat in the midst? Like, is she gonna, you know, betray the class or something like that? But no, she's just pretty much got like a dirty secret.
Yeah, I knew she wasn't gonna betray anybody. I figured, just with what I know about like Haitian culture and voodoo and all that, like I knew she wasn't gonna betray. I knew she'd seen something dark.
Yeah.
In her, you know. Because, like, voodoo magic gets really, really dark. And I could tell, like, she just seen that she was, like, a voodoo, like, goddess or something. I knew it was going to be something, like, terrible.
Right.
That came out. Like, her magic was going to be the not so
I'm ready to see her actually use magic, you know?
Yeah.
Like, do something.
I'm 110% ready. But I feel like it's going to, when she does do it, it's going to be something very, very voodoo. Like, it's going to be, like, necromancy or something like that.
I got
Like,
you.
I feel like she's not gonna pop up in a fight. She's gonna like rise, like bring zombies up or something. Like it's gonna be like, oh, we're outnumbered by a lot, and she's like, boys.
Really? Yeah.
You know, like, I think it's gonna be something like that.
I could see that. I'd really like that.
I don't see her throwing fireballs.
Yeah, that's more Doyle speed.
Yeah.
Doyle's gonna be casting them. Shoo, shoo. Dude, I really want to see more live action from Emily. Like, I enjoy Emily a lot.
Emily's my least favorite character.
I was about to say, I just feel like with this issue, this has been the first one that they didn't really focus on Emily. Like, the first three, I would say they focused very heavily on Emily, especially the first. But, you know, as we've met more, like, members of the class and stuff and got to see their personalities and their different powers and that sort of thing, like, I'm more and more pumped up for Strange Academy number 5. But what... I want to ask you about this. What do you think about the first appearance in this book? Their antagonist. And it's not... see, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's going to miss that this is a... No, it was named because they used special text for it in the bubble. It was like, we are the...
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, see, because you couldn't name it?
Right.
You know, I was like...
Yeah, who's
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
But,
That's a first cameo appearance. Because, you know, they're going to appear in the next one by the way this ends.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's definitely a first appearance of a group. I've never heard of them.
I don't know. I think that's interesting. I immediately thought of Group.
Yeah. Okay.
But I feel like with their whole thing being like a cult, you know? They have a very cult aesthetic.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the Voodoo Girl is like the perfect one to fight that, though.
Whoa, that would be pretty sick.
I feel like they're really amping up for her. Because I feel like this book isn't just going to focus on Emily, you know?
Oh, yeah, no.
It's definitely not. We're going to have character progression for everybody across the board.
Yeah.
Because they're all fresh characters. So you have to build them.
The thing that's most interesting to me is, so if you look at Strange Academy number 1 graded, it has like 5 first appearances in it or 6 first appearances. But those aren't all of the characters in the class. You know what I mean? So... I've started thinking in the last couple of days, and especially when I got done reading this, have some of these characters already been introduced minorly in other people's comics? Like, have some of these guys already been around? Because you know how I had speculated around, I think, Strange Academy number 2, that the girl we're discussing, the Haitian girl, is either related or is going to be under direct tutelage from Brother Voodoo. That was my spec.
Yeah.
And so, like, you were like, nah, I don't know about that. Like, you know... They're probably both just voodoo users. Like, that's probably as deep as it goes.
Well, I say that just because of what I know about voodoo. Because, you know, I really like magic. And
Brother
stuff,
Voodoo's awesome.
like, in the real world.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, and voodoo doesn't ever have that apprenticeship aspect to it.
Right.
You know, so I figured it wouldn't be nothing like that. Like, she might be like, hey, you know, like, what do you know about this? Or, like, do you know where I can get this?
Right. Or can you help me learn this?
Yeah.
Like, but it would just be like a one lesson type of thing. Not like a, you're actually
it's like, oh,
student.
you said this wrong.
Right,
and then, like, it's done. You know?
I get that. I like that. So, hit me with your rating on this one.
This is a solid 3.
Okay, this is a 3. This one for me is probably going to be right at 3 territory because I didn't think it was 2.5, but I don't think I liked it as much as 3 Jokers, only based on the fact that 3 Jokers was ending a story, and this one's kind of just more expanding on the first story arc that we've already been exposed to.
I might could do a 3.5 on this book if like it just had a little bit more.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
We had the Haitian girl, you know, and that I love that character.
Mm-hmm.
We see more of that.
Yeah.
But also, my second favorite character got some action. Toth.
Yeah, he did in Weird World.
Yeah. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's Toth's place," you know, like follow him.
Yeah, everybody
like look at the boy. I love Toth.
And
He's
you know,
the best.
There was one panel, you bring that up, where he was like quiet. He didn't say anything when everybody was like, all right, let's follow him. Or I think it was Emily that said, I'm following Toth because this is where he's from or whatever. And so like she starts chasing behind him and then at some point answers for him. And I was like, okay, they didn't tell you that they didn't say that she heard that telepathically or read his mind or whatever. But he didn't say anything. There was no word bubble there. So I was thinking in my head like, can Thoth just kind of like throw his thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, can he, project? Like, and he's not really a talker. Like, he's a lot more about kind of, higher beings. Like, you see higher beings all the time. Like, if you can speak telepathically, they don't move their mouths. If they can move objects with their, without using their hands, they're not going to use their hands. Like, just.
So you think you can just? Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just her? Or do you think you can do that to everybody?
Well, see, that's hard to know because what I was going to say earlier about Emily is I want to know more directly, like, what type of sorceress is Emily? Like, is Emily like the Doctor Strange category? Like, she have just kind of the basic magic, and does she have, the potential to one day potentially become the Sorceress Supreme or something like that? Or is she kind of fall under a specific category, kind of the way, like, the twin brothers, like Ilric and... forgot what the other one's called.
Well, see, they fall under that category just because they're gods.
Right.
Or they're Asgardians.
Right, yeah.
I feel like all humans are on the same playing field.
Okay.
Because you never see, like, Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
But besides that, he's just a magic user.
That makes sense.
And same thing with Doctor Doom.
Right.
He's just a magic user. It's never specified what they know. They just know magic.
True.
So I'm assuming they all know it under the same premise,
Yeah.
Human magic is human magic.
I got you. I like that. That's a good answer. I mean, explanation.
And they've never gone as far as to separate magic users from, like, Morgan Le Fay, who is technically a witch.
Right.
But she's not considered that.
Yeah.
She just uses magic.
Right.
So I feel like it's all under the same wheelhouse.
I agree.
Unless you're an Asgardian or whatever. Then you're different. Or a Haitian voodoo user.
Yeah.
But that's specialized. That's...
Yeah.
That's because of your people.
Definitely. Yeah. I got you. I like that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, what would you like to introduce for our number 3, Jakob?
For number 3, this is obviously a me pick, but it's the Department of Truth, issue 2. And if you regularly listen to the podcast, I really like the first issue of this, and I really like conspiracy theories. I don't look into them that much because sometimes, like, they really be out there. But this is in a format that I will learn about it. And I really like this one because the first one hit on a big conspiracy theory. The first one was Flat Earth. It was...
JFK.
Yeah, we had all kinds of them. But this one focused on a smaller one, which was called Satan Panic or Satanic Panic. And apparently it's something that happened in the 80s. And it was nothing I'd heard of, nothing Mac had heard of. But it was a smaller conspiracy theory, but they still made it like... Dang, that's something that happened.
Right, and they were saying that it happened all over the country, too.
Yeah.
So... That's weird. It was weird, to say the least. At the beginning, it kind of just throws you directly into this issue. If it makes sense, like, about a third of the way, half of the way in the book, it starts focusing on, like, the relationship between the main character, Cole Turner, and his association with the new, or, like, his newfound Department of Truth. But, like I said, it throws you in right at the beginning with the, conspiracy that Jacob said earlier, and it kind of threw me through a loop, because like he said, I had never heard of this conspiracy, and I thought this book, since it's all about conspiracies, was going to focus very primarily on the big ones, the JFK, the reptilian people, which it does mention in this issue. Another one that I thought would be super interesting for them to kind of blow up and make such a bigger thing, and especially put in a comic book, is like the whole like jet streams, or like jet trails, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like chemtrails is what they're called. Yeah, because like my cousin, he does believe in conspiracies, and that one he says is like the worst of them all. Like the whole chemtrails thing, because apparently like it's killing the planet, and as soon as the planet's dead, unless we figure out how to live on the moon or Mars, we're dead.
Yeah.
My cousin Jeremiah is weird, but I love him.
Oh my God.
Since this is your pick, I want you to take it away for the most part.
Well, I don't want to talk too much about it because, it talks about the interlinking character.
Right.
And I thought that was weird, that, it's a conspiracy theory, but that's a coincidence that right whenever he thinks about it, that character appears for the first time again.
Uh-huh, yeah.
That's almost like this is a conspiracy theory and a murder mystery. But it's not a murder mystery, it's all in their head.
Right.
No, that's just really weird.
Yeah, we also get another cameo appearance of that woman in red.
Yeah, the devil.
And well, see, I want to know, is that actually the devil? Because what you're hitting on is like what that little girl said in the recording. Like, she said, unlike Cole as a kid, because isn't that who we see earlier? Yeah, Cole as a kid didn't know who the devil was. Like, he was just told, I'll send the devil to eat you. But then that little girl specifically was told, I'll send the devil, or I'll send her to eat you, or something like that. Like, used a pronoun or something.
Well, I think it could still be the devil.
Right.
Just because in the first issue, Cole does see her, and her eyes are the same.
Yeah.
She still doesn't have the eyes.
Yeah, those black X's.
Yeah, so I think with that just being an interloping factor of being in the dream and in real life.
Right.
Because Cole experienced all of that. I think she might actually be the devil, or at least a conspiracy theory known as this devil. You know?
Whoa. So it would be... So you're saying there might be an underlying conspiracy theory that she is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Damn. Like, that would be kind of cool. That would rope me in because, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I love subplot. You know, so if that's the underlying message, and like that, we see more of that from issue to issue when 3 and 4 and 5 come out, and if it ends the first story arc, I might have a 180% different opinion of this title in general.
See, that's the thing with conspiracy theories. It's nothing but subplot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
conspiracy theories really are nothing but subplot.
True.
You start with one thing and it can go anywhere. Because it's a conspiracy theory. It doesn't have to make actual sense.
Right.
That's
a lot of people think they make no sense.
Yeah. So it could be whatever. And so this is the perfect book to do whatever you want. Take any random subject that happened in history and just run with it.
Yeah.
You can make
you're not wrong.
out of anything.
Shoot, you know, I'd like for them to touch up on some conspiracy about like the Lost Colony.
Yeah.
Like, that will be cool.
They could do anything.
And make those like the reptilian people or something like that.
See, you're knocking on them at first. You're using small, unknown conspiracies.
Yeah.
But see, that's where you can really be creative.
I feel you.
Everyone's done everything with JFK.
Yeah, it does allow you to put your own, like, flick on creative control, you know?
Yeah.
And put your own taste into it.
Pigeons,
Yeah, what are these homies saying?
Look
at that blind railroad worker. What up, homie? I give you a high five. Or, not a high five. A damn thumbs up.
The birds work for the bourgeoisie.
The birds work for the bourgeoisie. Pigeons are robots. I like that, MJ. Oh.
Well, what would you rate this?
For me, this is gonna be like a 2, only because 2.5's middle, and I liked it a little less than number 1. Number 1, I gave a 3.5, so I think it makes sense for me to go to a whole point lower on this one.
I give it a 3.5.
Okay.
This book was so solid.
Oh, well, I was about to say, that's a solid 6 together.
Yeah.
So, like, it's good.
Yeah.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is my second pick, and my last pick on our top 5. This is number 2 on our list. This is an indie book from Black Caravan, which is a Scout Comics imprint. So the main publisher is Scout Comics. This is The Electric Black Presents number 1. I really, really like this book. Just coming out of the gate, I'm going to say this is a horror anthology. It's kind of like Ice Cream Man. Yeah, like Ice Cream Man has this one character that, you know, is your narrator. Sometimes he's the main character. Sometimes he's not even in the book, other than, you know, the very beginning and the very end. But this kind of follows a similar character named Julius Black, and he is the proprietor and owner of the Electric Black, which is an antique shop where he has just all this, like, menagerie of different things. Like, for the most part, there's not organic stuff, but there is in the back rooms.
Does he say it's an antique shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like focus on that, and so I just imagine it has more of a Ripley's Believe It or Not kind of place.
Right.
Because that's what it kind of is.
Yeah.
You know. So I just had like that mindset of, oh, it's, you know,
I feel you.
it's just this building called the Electric Black. Because like outside of it, it didn't say like the Electric Black Antiques or nothing. When we seen the outside, it just said Electric Black. So I was like, okay, this is just some random shop.
Yeah. I'm not too sure about this too, but I think the Electric Black, like, shop itself is somewhat supernatural. This is the first book of this ongoing series, but I'm pretty sure that it can move around to different places. Like, it could be right here on the city street, or it could be right in the middle of a jungle in Vietnam.
Okay.
Because in the Roy story, it does pop up in the middle of Vietnam. Like, they're in the jungle.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, like, what's that over there?
That is a valid point.
So I think it kind of has, like, some supernatural vibes
Like a
and some
TARDIS.
horror vibes. Yeah, kind of.
You think it moves like a TARDIS?
Yeah.
Just kind of boop.
Yeah. Just jumps around different places.
Solid.
But yeah, that would add another dimension to what this book can do and where it can take the story, you know? Because then, like, what is the limit, you know? You can go anywhere in the world. Like, shoot, if it's so supernatural that you could go to another planet or something, they could make it sci-fi, you know, kind of related.
I think that would ruin it.
Yeah,
I think a lot of this book's aspect is the slight realism aspect of it, you know?
Yeah. Not quite a slice of life, but it's grounded.
Yeah, it's,
Right.
it's very grounded supernatural stuff.
Yeah. So, you didn't read the second story, or you flipped through the second story, Roy.
I read half of it.
But the first story,
That first
The Yellow
story
Stranger,
was the best of the two.
type nice.
Yeah, it was very tight, nice. I liked everything about it. Well, I enjoyed everything about it.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not crazy about it because it was just, oh, it's a mask that takes over people. Okay, where are we going from that? You know, like that's a cool place to start, but all I've seen it do is take over 3 different people, and none of them accomplished anything but dying.
Well, the first guy made the mask.
Yeah, but then he died, then the other guy took it, and all that he did was grow old and die with it.
Yeah.
Besides, like, ride with them. You know, he did the whole little riding around thing.
Yeah. And I kind of... Tell me what you think, but the Yellow Stranger into the second page, because, you know, the first page has Julius Black right there on the front holding the yellow mask, all Hamlet style. Or Macbeth. I think it's Macbeth. But the second page, it shows you just a couple of panels with, like, the zombies and stuff on it, but it showed the guy with the Plague Doctor mask. Or, like, the guy... I forgot what it was called. What was it? Is the Light is what they called their association? No, it's the Inquisition.
He was part of the Inquisition, yeah.
Yeah. So, when it was talking about that, dude, it gave me throwback vibes of that Hawkman issue a couple of months back.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Did. Like, the whole
time. As soon as I seen it, I was like, oh, this is Hawkman.
Yeah. And so, I enjoyed that, even though that's nothing related to, like, the Electric Black. I thought it was cool how Julius is very, very narratory. Like, you only see him on the first page, and then you only see him again right before the second story. And even at the end of the first story, whether it's supposed to be read in a way that he is narrating the story to you, that first, you know, Yellow Stranger story, or whether that was supposed to be just kind of something he was telling, and then when you got to that page, it was like, oh, well, you're still alive and not frightened after hearing the first story. Well, let's dive into the second one, and maybe this one will, you know, put a shiver down your spine, or blah, blah, blah. Like, I really liked how he came back again, you know, and was like, all right, I'm setting the stage for you again. Here you go.
I really like heavy narrative stuff.
Yeah.
Like, really in video games, but it works in any medium. I feel like that's one way of telling a story that works great anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't ever see it in AAA games, really.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, the last game I can think of that used that well was called The Cave. Did you ever play it?
Yeah, made it.
It was like a little... It was a game on the 360 arcade.
Okay.
Yes, it was one of those games. It was like one of the top ones, like Explosion Man and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a solid game. And I think you can get it on Xbox One, too. I think
that might be worth looking into. You said it's The Cave.
It's like 7 characters you can play as, and everyone you pick it switches. Like, the narrator is the same guy, but he's like, the siblings, you know, and they all have, like, special little things they can do.
Okay. That is cool. I like that.
It's a little platformer game where you can switch characters.
Huh.
It's pretty nice.
That kind of reminds me, like, not with the narration thing, but just being like a platform game or what you were talking about. Kind of reminds me of the idea and, like, how you can switch out different players. It reminds me of Castle Crashers. Nice. Like how you could pick the green and then pick the red for this mission and the blue.
Yeah, that doesn't really influence the game.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
This is something more like Trine. Have you played that?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Okay,
but
cool.
You have to, like, go back to a certain point to switch them.
I got you. Do any of the homies have a question? Oh, Durango Johnson waved. What's up, TK? Oh, Lorna, hello. Jacob, would you like to... Oh, wait, did we not put ratings on this? We didn't do ratings yet.
Mm-mm.
What do you want? What's your rating at?
3.
Okay, that's fair. Mine's just going to be a 3.5. Because, like, I feel like with a future issue, this could be exceedingly better. But as where it stands right now, that's kind of a fair grade, in my opinion. 3.5.
How many issues is this going to be?
6, I think. Wait, yeah. 6 issues October.
Oh, nice. It's right there. Cool. Well, for number 1, we have Harley Quinn. Issue number 1, it's Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn. So it's the Harley Quinn from the White Knight series? Or
White Knight universe.
Series? Oh, universe.
Yeah. They kind of are an alternate thing.
Cool. After reading this book, I kind of want to read some White Knight stuff.
Yeah, well, there's the original Batman White Knight, and that's like 6 issues. And then there's Batman the White Knight. Oh, no, it's Batman the Curse of the White Knight. So it's Batman White Knight, and then Batman Curse of the White Knight, and then this.
Okay.
So,
because I like this Harley. This Harley's cool.
This Harley is super cool. I liked her relationship to Jack Napier, the original Joker from like that universe. I also like her relationship to Batman, and I was a little bit confused on that because you know she left the heart on the glass, and I was like, "Are you skipping out on old Jack, or like you know?"
I don't think it's like that. I think her and Batman are just friends.
Right. Yeah.
Because that was kind of her thing. Was like, oh, she has left.
Yeah, it was Batman.
That's how Harley always ends up. But this is all I have left is this one person.
Well, when are they gonna like do something crazy and put Batman and Harley together for a brief time? Whoa, buddy!
I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
I mean, they're.
She's too criminally.
I was about to say they're polar opposites. So.
Yeah, she's too criminally insane. At least him and Catwoman have like similarities of like high class lifestyle.
True.
You know, where him and Harley are like truly not gonna connect.
Yeah.
But, you know, I know this was my pick, but what did you think about it since you know more about White Knight?
Well, so there's not too much that I know about White Knight. I wouldn't give myself too much more credit than your knowledge on it. The only reason I know a little bit is because not only did I carry the Curse of the White Knight series, we weren't open for the original White Knight, but I carried the Curse of the White Knight series, and a bunch of people were raving about it, a bunch of people loved it, and my dad was reading through the whole thing. And he loves the White Knight universe. He says the guy who writes this, Sean Murphy, is just... Because he was the one who wrote the original White Knight and then did Curse of the White Knight. And this is pretty much what they consider Sean Murphy's White Knight universe.
Okay.
And so... Because he's written all of them. And so... I think he has a really good way, Murphy does, of keeping his stories, you know, interlocked even though they're different stories. Like Batman White Knight merges into Curse of the White Knight really well. And I feel like this story in the first issue, because I only actually read, I think, 1, 2, 5, and 8 of the Curse of the White Knight series. So I did read the last issue, and the last issue kind of does, like, not really set up this issue, but it helps give you a little backstory on like what's going on and why all of these things are happening in the moment that they're happening in this issue.
Interesting, because I was about to say this book can be read without anything White Knight.
Yeah,
they do a great job of explaining everything that you would need to know. You know, like what happened with Jack and all of that. That's completely explained, and I just love this Harley because this Harley isn't the truly criminally insane Harley we see a lot.
I feel like she, even though she's not, you know, like you were saying, or like she says in the book, she's not like the Doctor anymore. Like her thing was revoked. But she's still so much more of a mental Harley than like a physical and verbal Harley.
Yeah.
Like normally the Harley we get is like, let me put this mallet up to your head and let me talk shit to you the whole time. And this Harley is like more, let me beat you up with my brain. Like
yeah, and that's the side of Harley I like. That's kind of why I like Suicide Squad Harley more.
She does think a lot more too.
And like she'll throw you under the bus like for like psychological stuff.
Right.
You know, like real quick though. You know, like if you like mess up or something, she's quick to be like or like to analyze you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What makes you a bad person? Like she'll tell you. You know, she's like, oh yeah, you have daddy issues. I can definitely tell, and like she'll tell you why. You know, and just stuff like that, and I like it. And I like this Harley is playing on something that is like blowing up in entertainment, and it's the whole like cop profiler thing. Cause like that's why Criminal Minds is so popular,
right?
You know, and that's why one of my favorite movies and series of all time that I started watching again. Hannibal. I love all the Hannibal stuff.
Okay.
Profiler, you know?
Yeah.
Not Hannibal himself, obviously, but he works with a profiler, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just such a big thing, and now that it's even made its way into comics. And I noticed that because I've started watching more TV, and like everything is about a profiler, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, hey, like, TV is going to constantly keep evolving, and, like, comics, too, like you were saying, it can really be one of those things that influences almost any medium.
Yeah. And I think Harley is, like, the best person to be the one to work with some kind of, like, crime profiler. Because she is the closest you can get to being sane and criminally insane.
Yeah.
You know, she is both.
Yeah. So would you call her criminally sane?
Yeah. Basically, she's criminally sane. She knows how every criminal would think.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, I agree with them when they were like, yeah, Harley, we really need you on this. Like, you're the only person who's been that close to X amount of villains.
Yeah.
You know? Because, I mean, how long is the list? Like, she's probably hung out with, like, at least 20 of the top dogs that would play Gotham.
And I think they could definitely take something like this and turn it into a TV show. Definitely.
Like the whole White Knight universe? Or you're just saying, like, this?
This in particular.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely think if they would have ran with something like this as a Harley series.
Yeah.
And, like, that's something you could see, like, on normal TV. You could call it Quinn, you know? And just drag people in off the fact that it's a criminal profile show. And get people into Batman.
That would be cool if you take Harley, you know, have her almost partner up with a regular character. Like, have your profile character be, like, first appearance of this character or whatever, whether it be comic or...
Well, it could be the same guy has in here.
Right. Sean.
You know? They could steal the Hannibal format, but just use Harley instead of Hannibal.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And just have Harley free, though, instead of locked in the cage, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I mean, shoot, that sounds good to me.
That's what...
Any kind of TV that DC could put out that would be high-quality TV and would give Marvel a run for its money with the Disney Plus stuff and just... Specifically, not just stuff like Star Wars that or The Mandalorian, but also, like, the series that we're going to get this year, like Scarlet Witch and... Loki. You know what's crazy is I've heard stuff about both Falcon and Winter Soldier as well as WandaVision. I haven't heard a lick about Loki though. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, there's the chance that Loki may be coming in 21, or maybe it's just been canceled. You know what I mean?
It's not canceled.
If it was canceled, I feel like we would have definitely heard something about it, like 10 out of 10.
We've been talked about or speculated at least.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be something going on.
Right. What would you rate this book?
This is a 4.5.
This is a 4.5? This one would be a 4 for me.
Like, this book was definitely solid.
Yeah, it was very good, and I will continuously be reading probably every issue, the next 5, so all 6 issues.
Yeah, and I think this is definitely something that could be turned into TV. Like 10 out of 10 of anything.
It would take a while only because new stuff isn't getting optioned as fast as stuff that was like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Well, at least DC and Marvel don't move that fast.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely don't. Indie does.
Yeah, Indie's been optioning stuff that happened in like 6 months ago or came out, you know, whatever.
But I could see this because this is what I think could get them back onto the whole cinema.
Right,
thing, you
know? The cinema scene.
Yeah, anything dealing with actual live action. I think this would be... Yeah, because besides Suicide Squad, they ain't got much going for them.
Yeah.
And, like, that whole universe.
Yeah.
Besides, like, Batman.
Until they really show us how they're going to separate their universes. Because they were talking about, we're either going to have 2, or, you know, what we report on, like, they're going to have 3.
Yeah.
And
because there's so much speculation with the,
Joker?
Yeah. With that whole universe.
Right, with Joaquin Phoenix Joker?
Yeah. I can't remember how to pronounce his first name.
I love that. I love just the way his name sounds. Joaquin Phoenix. Like, that sounds like someone who's supposed to be famous.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you got the name to be in the headline. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this will conclude our podcast unless you want to look up some spec, like on the fly. Do you want to look up some specs?
On my phone. I was looking for my phone. I don't have it.
I've got my tablet right here. So let me just look up comic news really quick and see what pops up. Comic book news. We'll take a couple of questions if people are still hanging out. ready for season 2? Hell yeah, MJ. I'm going to be here at the shop an extra 30 minutes, maybe even a whole hour early, just so I can watch before the shop opens, and so I'm uninterrupted. If you'd like to come watch and you're free tomorrow, then meet me here at like 10:30. Like I said, I'm going to be here at least 30 minutes early, if not a whole hour.
Oh, boy.
I gotta see that episode. And, dude, I'm going to watch it one time before the shop opens, and more than likely, the first hour the shop's open, I'll probably just run it back. Like, I 100% plan on watching it twice or 3 times back to back to back. Okay. Somebody asked, who is Moon Knight and what are his powers? I think that probably has to do... Oh, that's something we can talk about. We can talk about Oscar Isaac officially being cast as Moon Knight.
I don't know who that is.
Oscar Isaac is the guy who played Poe Dameron. And the guy who played Apocalypse in X-Men, like, the newer ones.
Okay, that's something I'm
See, I knew I was about to work that brain as soon as I said something about X-Men.
Poe?
Yeah, Poe's the pilot, the X-Wing pilot from the sequel trilogy.
See,
like the
you
new
tell
movies.
me that, I know what he does and everything,
Right.
I just cannot put who he is.
Yeah, the one with the black X-Wing.
That doesn't tell me nothing.
Savage.
I know what he looks like, I've seen his Funko Pop and everything, but
Yeah.
I just cannot place his face.
You have class at that time. That's fine, MJ. Don't worry about it. I mean, if you want to come in at a later time, like, we can watch together then.
He could come in any time of day and it'd probably be on.
Yeah, exactly. That. Tell me what you think about this Moon Knight action, though, MJ. Like, obviously, Moon Knight's still slated to come out next year, but I want to know what you think about Oscar Isaac playing the Moon Knight, the Mark Spector. Didn't he play Spidey 2099 and Into the Spider-Verse? Dude, did he? If he did, I never knew about this, and that would be epic.
That would be cool.
I mean, he was a cameo at the very end, right? Like Spider-Man 2099. I remember seeing it in the movie, but I don't remember picking up on the voice. But, dude, if you did, that's epic. IMDb right now. I'm looking. Dude, my man has already been announced for 6 episodes of the show. And it says Mark Spector / Moon Knight.
Nice.
So, nuts. That movie came out when? That movie came out before the last Star Wars movie. Yeah. It says Into the Spider-Verse. His voice credit is Interesting Person Number 1. So,
MJ?
unless that's him, like, unless Interesting Person Number 1, and I guess the only interesting person would be, yeah.
Gosh.
That's wild. It literally says Interesting Person Number 1, and it says voice. So,
Well, it has to be a voice.
yeah, I knew that part. That's why I wasn't that surprised about that. But the fact that, yeah, I don't know. You're going to make me, like, pull up that scene now, MJ. Never read Moon Knight, but I'm interested in seeing it. Dude, most people haven't read Moon Knight because Marvel doesn't consistently publish Moon Knight. Like, they probably have Moon Knight up on this little shelf, and they're like, alright, like, it's been 3 years or 5 years. Like, let's pull him down and, like, do a story and do a mini-series that's only going to be 5 issues. Or let's do an ongoing series that's going to get canceled after 9 issues or something like that.
Man, how do you think Blade fans feel?
Dude, Blade had that one shot at the beginning of the year that, like, soared through so many different shops. Like, it immediately went to a second printing, and then I think from a second printing to a third printing. So, yeah, that book was super popular. I'm really surprised that, especially with, well, probably next year with all this stuff coming, like with Moon Knight being late next year and, you know, Blade being the first thing that we're going to get for part 5, you know, which that's, you know, probably 4 or 5 years. I think they're probably going to start introducing more horror characters or giving more supernatural and horror-esque characters ongoing or mini-series to help, you know, let the community and let people in general, like, become informed about them. Because otherwise, you know, there are so many younger people that don't know about those characters that were first appeared in the Bronze Age, you know, in the 70s and the 80s. And
Which a lot of people don't know about Blade.
Oh yeah, I know.
I know about Blade because I've seen all the movies.
Right, some Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, nothing like some tax evasion. You're right.
Tax evasion. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that comment, this is going to conclude the 41st Kessel Run Comics podcast. This is your boy Macadelic and co-host
Ske11y Boy.
And as always, this is us signing off. Later.